Alright, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the current price situation of crypto, and then we're going to get into some more crypto news as usual. Before I get into that, I have a donation to call out because I love doing that because I appreciate them a lot. $10 PayPal donation from Constance Gordon. Thank you a lot for that. And we'll get right into it here. So right now we are seeing a slight upswing in the price of crypto. So I have the Litecoin chart on. We can go to the Bitcoin chart, and we're looking at about the same thing too. However, this makes me a little bit worried. Of course, I want the price to go up. We all do. But this was quite the fast rise, if you will. So this is just a 3-hour period. I have the 1-hour candle on. So in a 3-hour period, we went from 7,400 to, well, it got up to about 80, nearly 8,300, and now we are currently about 83.26. This isn't particularly unusual in Bitcoin or crypto. However, a lot of the times when you see a fast, nearly $1,000 rise like this, you end up getting something in return, and that's usually a follow-up dip. So again, just keep an open mind no matter what happens in the market. If the market goes way down, then you just buy a little bit of coin. What I usually would recommend doing is just throwing down what you can. Nothing too crazy. You don't even have to buy a whole coin or anything like that, particularly when it comes to Litecoin or smaller coins. When it was about 160, I bought a whole coin. I was thinking about buying a coin when it hit 140, but I think I was asleep or away from the computer, something like that, around the time that it was in the 130s here. And I didn't, and I was also thinking maybe around 145, just throw in like $50 or something like that and get a chunk of Litecoin, and I also didn't do that. So I did buy one whole coin, which is not too impressive, but again, just throw in what you got, you know, kind of thing. So if it goes down a little bit more, might be a good time to buy a coin, and if anything, might be a good time to buy a little bit of coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever your favorite coin is now, because, you know, looking in the long run, the prices are still pretty low, as you can see all the way down here. Regardless of our little upswing here, we are still way low from, you know, just a high in the, you know, mid-February there, and even much before that too. So looking at CoinMarketCap here, there are only 3 coins at the moment. Let me just go ahead and do a little refresher-rooski there just in case. And still only 3 coins that are actually down right now. That's Polymath, 10x, and Tether. And the rest of the coins all way up. The winner of the day apparently is Status, Nucleus Vision, Byteball Bytes, oddly enough. And interestingly, Monacoin is up by a whole 21% today. As you can see, that was a massive increase. So I do have a little bit of Monacoin, so pretty nice in that, although I didn't check the price earlier because there are a couple coins I own that I rarely ever check the price on, like Vertcoin and Monacoin, because they're all kind of low to begin with. You see 391. I think Vertcoin is about $3 or $2.50, something like that right now. Actually, we can go ahead and check. Why not? Why not? You know what I mean? Oh, it's only $2, so much lower than I thought it was. Again, I don't really check the price of that all that much. So as you can see, everything's doing pretty good, though. I mean, even just scrolling all the way down in the top 100 here, all in the green except for just a couple. Well, actually 3 are in the top 100 that are down. So that's the only 3 that are down. So doing pretty good right now, but just keep an eye out for a dip in the market, because technically, you know, on the 1-day candle chart here, the EMA is still on a down curve. So regardless of, you know, when you look at it in a short term, it's up, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything at the moment. And usually, as I said, when you have a sharp increase like that, sometimes it's followed by a sharp down curve as well. So sometimes, you know, big whalish investors, they'll, you know, short themselves or long position themselves with a margin buy, and then they'll just buy a whole bunch and then sell it and keep doing that, rinsing and repeating, because quite frankly, the crypto market is fairly easy to manipulate because it is so small. It seems very large, especially when you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, $141 billion. That seems quite a lot, but in reality, with the stock market, dividends, property values, everything else in the world, it's a small fraction, a very small fish in a big pond. So there are some people with more money than pretty much all of crypto combined is worth, for the most part, and very easy to manipulate. So moving on here, we'll talk about some news. I'll get rid of that one. So why banks are finally talking crypto in filings. So this one was kind of interesting. We don't have them on the ropes yet, but we definitely have them scared. A quote. So that was the assessment of Coindesk reader Firefox Bancroft commenting on our story last month about Bank of America's mention of cryptocurrency in the risk factors section of its annual filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Scared might be a bit of an understatement, or an overstatement rather, but it's clear from the latest round of annual reports, also known as 10K filings, that financial institutions ranging from B and A's gargantuan peers to regional players are talking Bitcoin and its brood more seriously than they did a year ago or even 6 months ago. And then when I hear Securities and Exchange Commissions, I can't help but to think, what happened with Trevon James in that testimony? You know, I hate to get off track a little bit here, but he talked to FBI agents. They came to his house and he talked to them. He said he talked to them for an hour and a half without a lawyer present. And they were all buddy-buddy with him, and he said it really went really well. But I'll tell you what, if an FBI agent came to my house, not that I'm involved in anything as big as Trevon James is, but if they did, I would be like, you know, you guys got a warrant, and if not, maybe I'll see you guys next time. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll go ahead and need a lawyer present. Because even if you feel that you're innocent or you don't have any kind of wrongdoing, anything you say, I hate to be cliche here, can be used against you. So they're just recording that whole conversation. And if you tell them like, oh yeah, I set up a BitConnect, and you know, all I did was get a link and I sent it out and I told people how cool it was, you know, that could be used against you. So if you had a lawyer present, they would be like, oh no, don't say that. And they would kind of do one of these things. That change is a reflection of how far cryptocurrency and blockchain technology have come in a short time, and not only in terms of valuation, but also public awareness, even if widespread consumer adoption remains distant. For Bank of America, the threat is twofold. Cryptocurrency use could make it harder for the bank to trade financial flows in order to comply with anti-money laundering laws, and the technology is a potential competitor to traditional financial intermediaries, which it certainly is. There's no doubt about that. So echoing the latter concern, JP Morgan said some financial services business lines, including payment processing, could be disrupted by technology such as cryptocurrencies that require no intermediation. It was a striking acknowledgement from a company whose CEO famously called Bitcoin a fraud. Though to be fair, he did later express regret over that mark. However, with that latter being said there, though to be fair, he did later express regret over that remark. I actually read an article that he didn't regret calling Bitcoin a fraud because his sentiment on cryptocurrency changed. He actually said that he regretted saying that because that's all people talk to him about now. And they want to know why he said that and what he thinks of coin and this, that, or the other thing, or he's taking a lot of flack for saying that. So he just said that he regrets saying that because of just everybody. That's all anybody talks about now. So, but it's not just Wall Street that's got crypto on its radar. Main Street banks like WesBanco in West Virginia and Iberia Bank in Louisiana also mentioned potential competition from the technology in their 10Ks again. These are not too big to fail behemoths that occupy and Elizabeth Warren rail against. They're the successors to the Bailey Building and Loan in It's a Wonderful Life, the institutions that host barbecues for the local Chamber of Commerce and march in the town parade, and they think they might plausibly lose some customers to crypto. Perhaps the least surprising company to join this club was Goldman Sachs, considering that the investment bank started clearing Bitcoin futures for clients toward the end of the year, though it's not directly touching crypto. So I feel kind of in the middle in some ways. I like to look at everything objectively. I like to just sit in the middle as much as possible. I do fully support crypto, but at the same time, to some degree, I still fully support fiat. Now, I know that's a surprise to a lot of people, but to some degree, I fully support fiat currency. Because here's the thing. Everybody says, Bitcoin's at $5,000. Bitcoin's at $10,000. Well, so what that implies to me when people say that is that they want their Bitcoin to have a value that has a relative value attached to that has an intrinsic value attached to the Bitcoin. So you have two people in this world, in my opinion. You have on one side, you have this group of crypto enthusiasts, which I feel that I belong to. Those crypto enthusiasts buy cryptocurrency, they trade cryptocurrency, and they sell cryptocurrency for fiat money, whether it's British pounds or euros or American dollars. Because first, and then you have the second people that embrace crypto as a future payment that will completely annihilate fiat, and fiat will be useless in the future. Let's say 50 years from now, by holding on to Bitcoin, everybody uses Bitcoin. You go to a department store, you spend in Bitcoin. You go online, you spend in Bitcoin. You go to the gas station, you fill up your car with Bitcoin. That could be a potential thing, and therefore fiat sort of gets completely bumped out of the way. However, I feel I'm in group A, because right now fiat is still king. It really is. You pay your electricity bill in fiat. I know that some people have paid their bills in crypto and things like that, but for the most part, bear with me here. You pay your cell phone bill, you pay your mortgage, you pay your rent, you fill up the gas in your car, you get paid by your employer in fiat. So everything really still revolves around fiat. And so I'm the kind of person that says, oh, Bitcoin's at 20K, sell, and then take some of that money out and put it in my bank account, and that's what I buy my groceries with. That's what I put gas in my car with. That's what I maintain and buy parts and this, that, and the other thing. Do this. So in the end, fiat is still incredibly useful to us all, and we can't forget about it just yet, because no matter how much Bitcoin you have, it's still very hard to do these things with Bitcoin without selling it and then giving it to somebody, or giving it to somebody so that they can sell it and then do what they want. So even if you had 10,000 Bitcoin, how are you going to put gas in your car? It's kind of difficult. You have to go way out of your way to go to actually get like Visa cards or something like that with crypto on them, or anything like that. You have to go way out of your way to get most stuff with Bitcoin. Everyday things. Like you can go on Newegg and you can buy a computer in Bitcoin. I've heard of people buying houses in Bitcoin. But those are honestly very few and far between. So next article here, ICOs iced. A 12-month freeze on U.S. token trading is just the beginning. So in case you don't know, ICOs are... Americans can't buy ICOs. So it's illegal, but it's one of those things where they haven't really defined it yet, and so they just prevent it from happening. So if you're an American developer and you want to make an ICO, what you have to do is essentially leave the country to make that ICO, or make sure that it is made in another country. So it's not necessarily... no cop is going to show up at your house for buying an ICO in America. Like if you bought an ICO, first of all, they're completely anonymous anyway, because you're sending Ethereum or you're sending Bitcoin or something like that and getting your ICO coins. But you just can't host one. You can't be the developer of an ICO because it's considered a security, and nobody is officially licensed to actually do that in the United States. So I just wanted to say that for the beginning of this article. So the market is being chilled, issued by Mike Lampros, Chief Legal and Risk Officer at Coinbase. The statement captures the mood of the moment for crypto innovators in the U.S. as regulatory uncertainty and months of wanton market growth appear to be finally coming to a head, spurring the shift that the SEC finally confirmed last week what had been long rumored, that it's investigating companies and startups associated with initial coin offerings. In response, entrepreneurs are largely surrendering on the idea new currencies created and sold to investors could be considered so-called utility tokens, a term denoting a digital commodity meant to represent a share of a blockchain protocol. So again, they're really cracking down on startup companies that are making ICOs. It's not necessarily the people themselves, because, well, let's be quite frank, there's 100 million people probably in the United States that are buying ICOs at the moment. Maybe that's a little exaggerated, but likely millions of people. I don't think, what are you even going to charge them with, first of all, for buying an unregulated security? I don't, you know what I mean? It's one of those weird limbo things where the U.S. is like, hey, don't do this. And you're like, hey, what's the law? And they're like, I don't know. Just don't do it. But that doesn't mean that many Americans do not buy ICOs. So still, U.S. companies preparing to issue tokens as securities may not have an easier time reaching buyers. There's no registered broker-dealer capable of trading security tokens in the U.S. yet. And as multiple founders pointed out to CoinDesk, as issuers shift to issuing these tokens under a Regulation D exemption, what that means, I don't really know. Most are still under the 12-month lockup required by the rules. As the MIT Bitcoin Expo this weekend, the issue was on display in a panel that struck a sour note on the state of ICOs. There, Nick Aton, CEO of blockchain funding platform Chainstarter, went so far as to predict U.S. regulators will view every token as a security. So apparently utility tokens are fine in the United States as of yet, but the actual cryptos are not, because there's a few different types of cryptos, and a utility token is kind of different. It's not as secure as a full-on crypto, and it's mostly useful as a startup tool for people's websites or people's companies, and that helps them raise money, and then the people hold on to that coin, and sure, you can use it as a crypto, you can send it, trade it, whatever, but it's not as deeply made, if you will. So most exchanges are listing coins that are securities, and our view is a large number of these exchanges are going to be closed. Even a panel on regulation more generally saw talk of concern with former CFTC chair and MIT professor Gary Gensler, indicating his belief action on exchanges could be ahead. I think it is without a doubt that numerous exchanges will have to seek exemptions under the alternative trading system, because many of the exchanges, not all, have tokens that are securities trading on them, he explained. But it's not just existing exchanges. Businesses seeking to fill the market may need to be held up. As Gensler and others have put forward, participants in this new market think they might know what's forbidden, but no one can be sure until regulators address cryptocurrency more specifically. So people who want to comply and don't want to do something wrong are left trying to find the rules, which don't really exist. So, potentially a death of utility tokens. So that's kind of interesting. They're putting a freeze on ICOs, but technically, it's why when you go to an ICO website, it mostly says that you can't buy this in Singapore or the United States. Mind you, people do, but you're just not supposed to, and that's more of a regulation for the ICO itself. That's sort of like when you go to buy a toaster from the store and it says do not use this toaster in the bathtub. Right. You would think to yourself, like, why would they even need to put that on there? And it's more to protect themselves so that you don't put a toaster in the bathtub, get electrocuted, and then somebody sues them because, you thought, hey, why not, listen to the radio, do my makeup and, make some toast while I'm in the bathtub. I can do all of these things at the same time. Why is that a bad idea? So that somebody did it before, and they have to do this now as a precaution, because then they'd be like, well, look on the box, it says don't use toaster in the shower. So really these ICOs are basically putting that on there, because if they don't, and then they can essentially probably be sued. It's probably some legality, if you will. So Twitter prepares ban on crypto ads. So Twitter is preparing to prohibit advertisements for ICOs, token sales, and cryptocurrency wallets. The new advertising policy is expected to come into effect in a couple weeks. The microblogging site is said to impose a ban on ads for crypto exchanges, as well as bar a few exceptions. This policy change has yet to be confirmed officially. So now I don't doubt this one bit, because Google already did this so you might think, oh, well, just Google, right? But Google owns YouTube. So in case you haven't noticed, there has been a massive decrease in cryptocurrency ads, and I don't think it actually takes place for a couple weeks, but for the most part, they're dying off pretty quickly. So here's the thing. Here's what I think about that is on one end, that's a shame, right? Because it's not getting cryptocurrency out there as much to the world. However, I read an article on it, and it basically said, well, you don't see people advertising stocks online, or in commercials. Yet sometimes you see this, the $5, $8 trade, E-Trade or whatever on TV for exchanges. So again, it's a mixed bag of what's the difference between, advertising a stock exchange on TV rather than advertising Coinbase on TV or something like that. Another thing I think is that I say good riddance to is the Tai Lopez videos. In case you guys didn't notice, on just about every crypto YouTuber, when you click on their videos, whenever you do get an ad, 50% of the time what you're going to get is Tai Lopez. And if you don't know who Tai Lopez is, please Google him, and you'll recognize him immediately. For example, the one ad he has is like, it shows him walking through some kind of mansionous house, and he says, the first thing he says, he's like, you want to know the craziest fact about 2017? And he says something about, you know, that if you were to invest $100 in Bitcoin in the year 2010 or something like that, you'd have $1 million or something like that. So probably true. I don't, you know, I don't know. I didn't do the math. I don't care because I don't listen to Ty Lopez. But he sells books and other how-to videos. He's basically a how-to guru, and he sells a $500 investment crypto course. So like when you go to his website, he's like, you know, click on my website to find out how. And when you go to his website, you don't find out how. You definitely don't find out how. You have to pay for a $500 course to find out how. So here's my thoughts on that. Good riddance. And also at the same time, you know, if you're so successful that you need to make, if you need to make a how-to course that costs $500 for people for a how-to to get rich, that means you were never successful to begin with, right? Because if you were so successful, you would be way too busy to make a how-to course for people to pay $500 for, right? You'd be busy being successful without the $500 course, right? Kind of thing, if you get what I'm saying there. So, you know, so some platform may be excluded from the ban. Following similar moves by Facebook, Google, and Twitter is now preparing to ban crypto-related advertisements on its platform. The new advertising policy will be implemented in 2 weeks. Okay, there you go, 2 weeks. Sky News reported without revealing the source of its information. The upcoming rules will likely prohibit advertisements for initial coin offerings, token sales, and cryptocurrency wallets globally. According to the report, the reasoning behind Twitter's decision is unclear. Other companies imposing restrictions on crypto content ads have cited concerns over illicit activities and fraudulent ads. Ty Lopez. The ban may also include advertisements for cryptocurrency exchanges. The report suggests, however, that the new policy will be launched with some limited exceptions in regards to trading platforms. There's been no official confirmation of the policy yet. So that makes sense that they would make exceptions for trading platforms, because if you've ever watched cable TV or anything like that, which, you know, if you're from Planet Earth, I'm sure you have, from time to time you might see those E-Trade or Scottrade websites where they're like, it's just $8 a trade, it's just $5 a trade. So, you know, you never see individual stocks. You know, you never see an ad for Apple stocks where Apple is like, oh yeah, buy our stock, it's only $84.75 a stock. I don't know how much Apple stock is right now, but it's probably more than that. But either way, you don't see individual stuff. So why should you see individual Bitcoin or Litecoin ads? I wish I wish people would, because obviously that would be great for the crypto economy, but it makes sense to some degree. So one more thing here. Another article on the Monero Antminer. So the drama continues with the Antminer X3. In case you guys haven't caught up on this, basically Antminer has been accused, Bitmain rather, the company that makes them, has been accused of mining Monero for a very long time now, since at least maybe August or end of July or so, somewhere around there, which spiked the difficulty of Monero. And with that, Monero developers decided to do a hard fork on March 28th so that it could no longer be mined with an ASIC, because an ASIC has to be set up in a very, very, very specific way so that it does the same thing over and over. And if you change one little thing about it, not much of a programmer, but if you change just a little bit about it, then it can't do that same process over and over unless you remake the whole ASIC miner. So after the fork was announced from Monero, Bitmain suddenly announced that they have these and that they're selling them. So they won't actually get to your house if you buy one for 2 months, well after the fork, and it will no longer be able to mine a Monero. So they're essentially selling you a $12,000 or $8,000 pile of crap that can mine other coins, but not Monero. So let's get into this. Bitmain has found itself in a war with words with the Monero community over the release of its latest cryptocurrency miner, the Kryptonite capable X3. Should have got myself some apple juice, a little thirsty. The unit is being offered at a discount rate to existing customers, but critics claim that this is because the miners will soon be ineffective at mining Monero. the main coin to use the X3's CryptoNight technology. Monero lead developers Riccardo Spagni, if I said that correctly, has emphasized that the units will not work on Monero due to a scheduled hard fork designed specifically to outwit the CryptoNight algorithm. Monero's Crypto Nightmare, we are pleased to announce the all-new Antminer X3 to mine cryptocurrencies based on the CryptoNight hashing algorithm, tweeted Bitmain cheerily on March 15th. The new units would start shipping instantly, limited to one per customer to prevent hoarding. The price would even be dropped to $3,000, even though some people paid $12,000 and $8,500 for existing customers, although I've read that it was only $3,000 for Chinese customers. So now their prices are just all over the place. First they're like, I don't know, give us $12,000, and then they're like, no, wait, make it $8,500. It's like they're a car salesman at this point, and you go in there and you're like, I don't want to pay $12,000. Like, give me $8,500. Oh no, I'll do it for $3,000, but just before you leave the lot. So the price would even be dropped to $3,000 for existing customers. According to an email, posters on Monero's Reddit board have urged buyers not to purchase the units due to the scheduled change to the coin's proof-of-work algorithm. Others have gone so far as to accuse Bitmain of mining with the algorithm machines for months and only shipping them now that Monero's algorithm is due to change, rendering them useless. So here's a tweet from somebody, and this sums it up really, really good. So it says, number 1, Bitmain produces first CryptoNight ASIC, summer 2017. Number 2, mined secretly from November 2017 with no ASIC sales. Number 3, blame hash rate on botnets and hype. Number 4, Monero announces proof of work fork. Number 5, wrap it up. Number 6, dump ASIC, used ASICs, $12,000 each right before obsolescence. And then number 7 is a smiley face with a bunch of money in its mouth, and then a shushy face. And then it just says genius with a question mark on the bottom. I think so. I would say more scam rather with a question mark than genius. But one could argue genius as well. Who knows? CryptoNight, the chipset fitted to Bitmain's X3, has turned into a crypto nightmare for anyone who's been trying and failing to subsist off Monero mining this year. As one key-eyed observer spotted, after Bitmain took possession of the chips, Monero's hash rate rocketed. The Monero team, led by Riccardo Spagni, who's referred to Bitmain as a known bad actor, struggled to work out what had happened. A Monero mining botnet that had affected millions of computers was one possibility floated, but this was discontinued. So for a while there, you guys probably remember the news of there was a botnet that affected millions of computers, and also there was various websites that were using a Flash or what have you, a JavaScript to actually mine Monero while you were visiting their website. For example, the Pirate Bay, for a while, instead of using ads, they sort of eliminated their ads, and they created a, I don't know if it was Flash or JavaScript, but basically a JavaScript that when you visited the website, your computer would slow down and it would mine Monero for the Pirate Bay. People were very, very upset by that, and it was very fast that the Pirate Bay stopped that and just re-implemented ads as opposed to a JavaScript to mine from your computer. To combat the sudden increase in Monero, or in hash rate, Monero announced a proof of work change on February 11th to make the privacy coin less susceptible to the CryptoNight algorithm. While not mentioning Bitmain by name, the post noted how mining in general is also prone to the rich get richer effect, which ultimately leads to centralization. So it says here, we will perform an emergency hard fork to curb any potential threat from ASICs as needed. Furthermore, in order to maintain its goal of decentralization and to provide a deterrent for ASIC development and to protect against unknown or undetectable ASIC development, the Monero team proposes modifying the CryptoNight proof of work hash every scheduled fork twice a year. Finally, we will continue to research alternative proof of work functions that provide a better ASIC resistance than CryptoNight. As a result of the hard fork, the Bitmain X3 will be largely worthless, at least for the purposes of mining Monero. All that will be left for recipients of the new X3s is such alts as Bytecoin, Digital Note, and Darknet Coin shitcoins to all intents and purposes that cannot be easily offloaded onto the market to offset mining costs. And then here's a Monero chart, a difficulty chart, and this is from January 2017 or so there to today. or rather till about March 15th or so. So you can see when it started, and that looks like it's about August or so. And there was this massive, massive spike. You can see it just jump right up there, and then, woo, it just went way up. So something happened at some point, whether those were botnets, excuse me, and possibly the beginning there was the botnets, and then they started mining with Monero sometime in November or December here, and then launched it way up. So this is not just regular miners here. Normally this is regular miners, as you can see, just slowly going up. That's just the way it naturally does. And then all of a sudden you have this very, very unnatural increase. So anyone who orders one of Bitmain's new units will find themselves engaged in a race against time. As one person complained, not informing their users that the machine will be useless to mine the biggest and most popular, by far, Kryptonite coin is misleading. And that is being polite, to say the least. By the time they deliver of their new Antminer, more Kryptonite coins may have been hard forked, in which case buyers could wind up lumped with the world's most expensive doorstop. So it just goes to show that you know, a lot of these ASIC manufacturers are apparently, because you don't know when they're going to come out, right? Let's say you know, Bitmain releases an ecohash miner. Now ecohash is a little bit harder because it is a memory intensive, so they would have to add a lot of memory into these ASICs. So it's a bit of a different story. But let's just say, for example, the ecohash, you wouldn't know when they were actually making them or when they were actually done making them. You only know when they actually put them on sale. So let's say they put them on sale in midsummer, but they already have them made now. And they could turn those on, and nobody would know if they turned them on and started mining ecohash for several hundreds of dollars a day. And you got to understand that this is a big manufacturer, so they could be producing thousands or tens of thousands of these, all plugged in, mining ecohash at $300 a day, just like Kryptonite at a few $100s a day. And the only way we would know is by looking at the difficulty chart and seeing, you know, it spike. But again, you still have no idea where that difficulty is coming from. You can speculate, but you just don't know exactly. And then when the difficulty is super high and their profits have started to go down by half, then that's when they sell them off to the people. So there you have it, people. That's the news. That's what I have for today. For anybody that was wondering, the comments have been turned back on my channel. I just turned them off for a little bit for a break from comments because people were getting a little bit crazy. And so they're back on. So I realized that a lot of people told me, you know, we're very, very on my side. I got a lot of emails, got a lot of tweets, got a lot of people saying, you know, good for you, you know, not to listen to other people and, you know, keep your course as a good person, or at least I'm trying to be. So I really appreciate all of the people who did that. So all of you individually, I thank you all individually, you know, who emailed me, who tweeted me, who private messaged me, all that stuff. One thing I did miss was talking to you guys. So I was live streaming quite a bit, and a lot of you guys joined my live stream, and we talked about all kinds of things. And so now another thing I missed was, you know, just checking all the comments and you know, all of your guys' opinions on things. You know, a lot of you would give me news, sometimes news that I did not know about, you know, about this, that, or the other thing that just came out or just happened. One person told me that Trevon James made a video that says he wanted to punch me in the face, and so you know, I appreciate that sort of thing when people give me like breaking news like that I haven't heard, because I'm just one man and I can't look at everything. So somebody told me that Falcon Coin had went down, and you know, I'm not actively looking at Falcon Coin or anything like that. So somebody told me that, and that's the kind of thing I really appreciate when people send me breaking big story news, not like little things where, like, you know, they're like, oh look, you know, some town in New York City banned crypto. I'm like, well, I kind of already know that, but like big things, really cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.